I was in Tokyo in 1989, directing a TV commercial, and ended up having a meeting with a toy company, and the idea of making a feature film was thrown around. That night I found myself sitting in an outdoor cafe. The idea of Chi-Chian just kind of popped out of the sky and fell into my head. I started drawing her on the tablecloth in front of me. Her story just kept growing and growing and growing, and until one day I finally realized that I should sit down and put all of this on paper, and I started drawing what would become the Chi-Chian comic book. It's not so much an action-adventure story. It's not so much a story about the typical, comic book heroine with big boobs who kicks guys in the nads, as much as it is really a story about this very innocent person living in a very dark world, and it's sort of an emotional journey. I was inspired to write that kind of a story after I saw the film Laputa, Castle in the Sky, by the Japanese director Miyazaki. I saw that film about 10 years ago. I was sitting in the movie theater, and by the end of that film, I was sobbing in the aisle. I was on my knees like a 2-year-old, bawling. And I thought, that is such a beautiful story and such a beautiful emotion that you don't normally see in film. Usually you go to see a sci-fi film and it's a shoot 'em up. When thinking about making an animated film, I started to ask myself, what character could I create that I would care very intensely about? Somehow Chi-Chian came to be. She is a young girl who's half Japanese, living in Manhattan in the year 3000 after the New York-New Jersey War.
This will be our time!
I tried to warn Sebastian, but he wouldn't listen. He insists they are safe there, but...
I love it. That was gorgeous.
I think to me she's so beautiful and very special. Got a special character and soul in her and spirit. Something very, very nice and generous and innocent.
Basically, she doesn't understand why everybody around her is so evil, sick, and twisted. She's a very innocent and pure person.
But she has the power to save the world, of fighting all the wonderful, wonderful creatures. They're beautiful. And she basically is a hero here and save the world and save everybody. Of course, the story, you have to watch it in order to know.
The sci-fi.com Chi-Chian series is a new story. It's sort of a new episode in the big Chi-Chian saga, but it's all the same characters living in the same world. So it's very much a continuation of what took place in the comic book. The technique that's being used to create this series is something that's, I don't believe, ever been done before. It's essentially a stop-motion looking series created in Flash. And the way we do that is by actually building all of the stop-motion animation models the way we would if we were making a stop-motion film, but then scanning those images into the computer and animating them in Flash. So the whole series has a completely photographic look, which is very unusual. It's a 14-episode series. I imagine each episode will be approximately 4 or 5 minutes long, and a lot happens. It's a big story.
In a dark future, devoid of hope, the innocent will learn. Sometimes you have to be bad to be good.
Papa! This will be our time!
Oh dear, I fear Chi-Chan's in trouble. Why can't people just be nice?
The Chi-Chian animated series, coming to sci-fi.com.
No more Mr. Nice Girl.